These are overpriced makeup products I think you should never buy unless it's on a sale. This video was very much inspired by Patrick Ta's new eyeshadow duos, retailing for $42. We all know there was a lot of controversy around this eyeshadow. I was one of those people who said that I thought these were overpriced, yet I did buy it during the Sephora sale, and I can conclude that I do really enjoy these eyeshadows despite the price. But do I think these eyeshadow duos are overpriced? Yes. I would have not bought these at the full price of $42. I had a 20% off discount, so I ended up getting the eyeshadow duos for around $33.60. But I don't feel comfortable recommending a product like this without it being on sale. So this product really got me thinking about all of my favorite makeup products that I feel guilty or shameful to recommend because the price tag is so high. At the end of the day, I just think that the makeup industry is so competitive. There are so many other alternative brands that you can buy from that have incredible products at reasonable prices. I would consider one of those brands to be Tier, which is a sponsor of today's video. As someone who loves high-end and luxury makeup, I'm all about shopping smarter, not having to work harder to buy an overpriced product. So hopefully, if you have your eyes on any of these products during Black Friday, it can help you get to know my thoughts and opinions and whether or not the product is going to fit within your budget or work for you. Starting with Charlotte Tilbury. Charlotte Tilbury, we know and we love her, but we also hate her because her prices are extremely high. That's gonna be a common trend in this video, so maybe take a drink of water every time I say something is overpriced or expensive. She used to be one of my favorite brands, but over time I found other brands and products I loved more, yet there are a handful of products that I think have stood the test of time for me. The first product is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Matte Beauty Blush Wand, specifically in the shade Peach Pop. I have this on my cheeks today, and every time I wear it, it's just the perfect liquid blush color. Now, it's no longer my favorite formula because I really do love the Cali Ray blushes, but nothing has duped this shade. It gives you just a pretty peachy flush to the cheeks. I think that it's very flattering on my medium brown skin tone, so if you have a skin tone similar to me, I think you'd really like this. $42, I hate the packaging, but this has lasted me a while. I feel like I've had this for, I'm ashamed to say, like over a year at this point, and I'm still not done with this. I don't use it every day, but I used to use it every day. So even then, I still have so much product left, and I do find it to be pigmented enough where you don't need to use so much. I am also in love with her lip liners. They are the one product that I'm constantly finishing up and going through. My favorite shade is in Foxy Brown, and I realized after trying a lot of other lip liners, I do love this formula. I find it to be creamy enough to glide on your lips, but it does set so that it lasts and it doesn't smudge easily. And I find the shade Foxy Brown on my lip color to be the perfect neutral brown, so I can wear it with any lipstick and lip gloss, and it just has become a staple in my makeup routine. Another really underrated product from Charlotte Tilbury, but it's so overpriced. I think per gram it's probably one of the more expensive eyeshadow quads on the market, but I really do love the color story. This is her Pillow Talk Dreams Luxury Palette. I wouldn't recommend any of her other quads. I've tried them and the formula is not the same as this. I find this to be a very powdery but pigmented and buildable eyeshadow formula. That's not really what stands out for me though. I really just love these kind of like rosy, almost reddish brown burgundy cranberry. I wore this in one of my videos and y'all kept commenting and asking me what I'm wearing on my eyes, and it's this. I do find that this is a very unique color story. I don't have shades like this from what I know of in my makeup collection, and I absolutely love the formula. So if you like a color story like this, I would highly recommend the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Dreams. Now, it's not clear what her Black Friday sale is this year, but last year she did 30% off. She's also done bundle deals, 20% off site-wide and buy one get one. So let's say you buy one of her lip liners, you would get another one for free to give to someone else as a gift. So if you are interested in any of these products, I highly recommend checking out her website during Black Friday and seeing if there are any good deals on these products. Another brand that I refuse to buy full price because it's just too expensive is Dior. Now, Dior is a brand that, again, I am always so shameful to recommend. I think there's a lot of hate on Dior because of how expensive their products are, but for some reason, I have a good relationship with the brand in the sense of any product that I usually buy from Dior, I always end up really enjoying and never regret buying, even if it was full price or on sale. That being said, because I'm being more price conscious this year, Dior really is only worth it if you can buy it on a sale. Although the Sephora Rouge sale has passed, so I'm not sure if they're doing a 20% off sale again during Black Friday. If they are, you can get Dior on sale, or you can buy Dior at Ulta, save up Ulta points to get a Dior product. Sometimes Ulta also has 20% off coupons that you can use on prestige brands. If there's something you really want from Dior, do not buy at full price. The products I personally would recommend is the Dior Backstage Rosy Glow blushes. I know that there are a lot of mixed opinions about these, and I always hesitate to talk about them because I just feel so guilty. But y'all, I genuinely love these blushes. They are my go-to, especially when I want more of a natural flush to my cheeks. I have the shade in pink, I also have the shade in coral, and then I have the red blush too. I don't use that one as often as these two shades, but the reason why this formula is so special is because it gives you a natural flush to your cheeks. It's not super pigmented, it's very buildable. A lot of complaints about this is that it's not pigmented, but it's not supposed to be pigmented. It's supposed to look very soft on the skin. The best way I could describe this is the powder form of the Charlotte Tilbury Matte Beauty Blush Wands. These give that same vibe without being overwhelming on my face. I don't know how they do it, but they figured it out. Another Dior product that I think is severely underrated, and some might say it's not worth it, but I have finished up 2 of these already. This is the Dior Lip Glow Color Reviver Balm. The first time I got this, I think it was as a gift, and I surprisingly finished it, was not expecting to, and then I missed it, so I repurchased it, which was shocking because the price is insane. And then I finished that one and I thought, I still miss it. So I decided to get a different color, which is in the shade Mahogany instead. The first 2 shades I think were the original pink color that kind of gives you a natural pinky flush to your lips. Mahogany is a little bit more of a kind of warm tone cranberry burgundy color on the lips. First of all, I think that the packaging actually is adorable and looks luxurious, but the formula melts onto your lips. It also gives my lips a little bit of a plush to them, and I find it to be overall moisturizing. For some reason, I thoroughly enjoy this and I'm always reaching for it, and that just tells me that I really do enjoy it, especially because I have so many other lip balms and lip products. To me, this feels worth it because I know I'm always going to reach for it. I'm also almost done with this one. I'm a little more than halfway done with it. Once I finish this, I will likely end up repurchasing it once a sale comes around because, again, it's one of those accidental staple products I didn't realize I loved so much, but I don't talk about it because I feel guilty. I feel guilty because I'm like, how can I recommend a $40-something lip balm? And let's just continue on the lip product train. YSL always has sales on their website throughout the entire year. I've seen their products on sale up to 30% off, and they're likely going to do another Black Friday sale for 30% off. So I would not recommend to buy anything from YSL unless you get them on a sale. My personal favorite products, and probably the most hyped up products, is the YSL Candy Glaze. These are just, that's how I feel about them. The packaging is beautiful. It's weighted, it feels luxe. That's what you want to feel when you're buying something that's expensive and overpriced. But not only that, the formula is great. It's super melty and glossy on the lips. It makes your lips plush, but it's really pigmented. This is a product just like the Dior that I'm constantly reaching for and rotating through because it just works and it looks nice. There's nothing more that I can ask for. I have the shades in 04 and 15. Number 15 is more of a mauve-y kind of light pink, and then 04 is more of a warm tone brown. Now before I move on to the next overpriced products, I do want to mention Tilbury, which is a brand that I would 100% pay full price for, but I think it's even better if you can get them on a sale, and they will be having Amazon Black Friday deals on some of my favorite products. These have become game changing for me, and I do think they are totally worth the hype. Just like you, I was always a little skeptical because when something gets talked about a lot, I'm never sure if people are telling the truth. But if you have oily, acne prone, textured skin and you want a cushion foundation that's high coverage and lasts all day, Tier is where it's at. Once I learned how to actually apply these with the puff, they have become my go-to foundations. I've also taken a nap in these and they do not transfer onto my pillow, which is insane. The red cushion has a satin finish and the pink cushion has a matte finish. So depending on what you want, I feel like either one would work, especially if you have my skin type. If you watched my last video, then you know I have been using the Tier Milk Skin Toners for a couple of months now interchangeably. Although my skin is oily, it is severely dehydrated, and these toners have really helped just add the moisture back into my skin. I love these because they both have niacinamide and they're also formulated to work on sensitive skin. If you're really oily like me or want a very lightweight toner for the morning, then I would go with the Milk Skin Toner Light. And if you want something that's a little bit thicker and more hydrating, then I would go for the original. Now the standout product for me is the Ceramic Milk Impule. I did not think that this was necessary in my routine at first. If anything, I thought it was going to be redundant, but I noticed a significant difference when I use it the night before. I wake up with glowier, more plush skin. I've just really been enjoying Tier as a brand, and I also think that their prices are reasonable, but if you can get them on a sale during their Amazon Black Friday sale, I think it's even better. Highly recommend shopping the sale if their products fit within your needs and your budget. And thank you so much Tier for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Moving on to another brand that I think is overpriced and would not recommend unless you can get it on a sale. It's Victoria Beckham. I remember lusting over Victoria Beckham's products all year before finally deciding to buy some of her products from her yearly Black Friday sale. I think she only does a 20% off sale once or twice a year depending on the holiday. So now is really the time to buy Victoria Beckham if you have been eyeing her products. Now I don't think that they are all worth the price or worth the money even on a sale, but what I do really enjoy from her is the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick. This did make it into my 2023 favorites. I don't know if it's gonna make it into this year's favorites, but I do still very much enjoy this product. I think that this would be a huge battle between the House Labs bronzer to what's going to win this year. What I really enjoy about this bronzer is that it is a velvety, powdery formula. It has just the right amount of pigment. You can build it up to be more pigmented. I also like that there's a contour shade and a bronzing shade. So if I was stuck with only one and I had to get rid of everything, I think this would still be it though. The packaging feels and looks like luxury. It's refillable. It has two different shades that I can mix between or use one or the other. Even though this is extremely expensive for a bronzer, if you get it for 20% off, you are getting a good bang for your buck. And if you only want one bronzer in your makeup routine, I feel like this could be the one. I also really love her lid lustres, specifically in the shade Velvet and Tea Rose. I get a lot of comments on the shade Velvet, which is kind of like this golden green shade. The base is green, but it has like golden flecks in it. I just find the shade so flattering on my skin tone. I like to bring it out during the holiday time because it is green. If you have an olive skin tone, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's a very delicate kind of creamy powder formula, and the shimmer just has so much reflect to it. It's one of the more unique eyeshadows I have in my makeup collection, and by far one of my favorite green shadows. And the shade Tea Rose is more of like a grungy taupey brown color. Again, this has that same kind of shimmer metallic goldenness to it. Just look at that. I find it to be so freaking special, and the packaging is seriously adorable. Say what you want about Victoria Beckham, but she really slayed when it came to the bronzer and her lid lustres. On the other hand, I would not recommend her lip products. I've had issues with them, and her cream blush was mediocre. Now Hourglass is a brand that I only shop for if I can get at least at minimum 20% off. They do have 20% off usually during Black Friday, and I saw an ad for it the other day, so I'm pretty sure it's confirmed that they're doing 20% off again this year. They are known for their ambient lighting powders, which I do recommend, but as a reminder, if you are going to buy their palettes, it's only worth it and a good value if you like all of the shades in the palette, or sometimes it's worth just buying the bronzer bronzer and the blush separately because it's the same formula and you'll get use out of that one product more. Aside from the ambient lighting powders, I also love the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. Again, another product that I have been raving about for the past couple of years. This made it to my 2023 favorites, and this might be part of my 2024 favorites. I don't know yet. It's competing against another one. I finished up an entire bottle of this. Before this, I never finished up a primer in my life. There's just something about this formula that I really enjoy on my skin. Is it the most pore smoothing primer? Not really. It does a little bit to smooth your pores and make your skin look more filter-like, but the best part about it is that I find that it creates a really nice canvas for your foundation and your makeup. The application of my foundation is significantly better when I use this versus without it. And if you care about packaging, it's a glass frosted packaging. It's weighted. If you're on the market for a primer and you want something that's going to create a nice base for your makeup with a little bit of smoothing power to it, Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. I also love their duo-ended brushes. Now this I got for 50% off one year because there was like a code floating around. It was totally worth the 50% off and would be worth the 20% off because I just am always reaching for this. If I need to blend out a bronzer, I use this brush. Add on a blush, I use this brush. Oh, I need to use cream liquid, I use these brushes. I need to touch up my powder, I use the brush. If I'm traveling, I could seriously just bring these two dual-ended brushes and I wouldn't need anything else for my complexion. Of course, I would for eyeshadow. For complexion, these do the job. They're so versatile. I find them to be really lightweight, but they're still high quality because I wash my brushes fairly often and the bristles haven't come out. They're very soft. If I had to be a makeup minimalist and only choose 2 brushes for my routine, it would be these ones. Now, one would argue that this brand is technically not overpriced. A lot of people tend to argue that the quality is worth the price. The amount of eyeshadows you get adds to the value of the palette. And I have to be real, I don't think, to me, it matters where a product is made, how high quality something is, how luxurious something is. At this point, I feel like as consumers, we have grown too smart for the marketing. If you tell me something is made in Italy and that's why it's so expensive, to me, that's just a buzz phrase and it doesn't convince me to think that it's worth the price. I think at the end of the day, brands still have to make a profit and we will never know how much of a profit they're actually making in comparison to how much it actually costs to make the product. I've had someone in my comments previously say, how is this overpriced? And I think, like this entire video, what you think is overpriced is completely subjective. I do have a video planned kind of talking about this, but with that being said, Natasha Denona. These palettes might not be overpriced to some, but may be overpriced to some. So that's why I'm including it in this video. For me, I still think that Natasha Denona is expensive. I think that when she first launched, she had like those huge palettes that were really meant for makeup artists, retailing for like $100 and something. And in that time, it was not normal to release products for $100 and something. Then she came out with her midis for $60, $69, which seems more reasonable and more friendly to everyday consumers. But even then, there was a time where eyeshadow palettes were not retailing for $69. They were retailing for $30. $40 at most, and we thought $40 was expensive. So if I'm comparing it to that time frame, $69 is really expensive. Just like all the other products I'm mentioning in this video, they're all made by like celebrities, fashion houses, but that still doesn't always justify the price. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I do love the Natasha Denona palettes despite their price. You could look at this and think it's a great value because you're getting multiple different shades and formulations and textures, but I still would only buy them on a discount because they go on a discount fairly often. You can get them on Sephora, usually during the sales for 20% off. You can get them at Ulta using your Ulta points, or sometimes Ulta will have their own discount on prestige brands. Natasha Denona also has sales on her website during Black Friday. So paying full price for these palettes doesn't make sense for me. I have the palette I Need a Warm and I Need a Nude. These are probably going to be my last palettes I buy from Natasha Denona. Don't hold me to that because I don't know what else she's launching, but I feel very satisfied with these palettes. I think they have a good amount of textures, but also they have a lot of depth to them, which is what I look for with eyeshadow palettes, I hate when there's too much repetitive shades, and I always want a really light shade and a really deep shade, which is what I feel like both of these palettes have. I also would wear both of these palettes all year round. I find them fun to work with, very relevant to today's trends. If you love cool tones, I don't think you could go wrong with this palette. And if you love warm tones, I really think that you're going to be obsessed with this palette. There's a mixture of creamy textures, but powdery textures, metallics, a duochrome. You can create really warm tone looks with this, but also like neutral brown looks with this. I was very impressed with this, and I do not regret any of these purchases. It seems like for Black Friday, she's doing 35% off 2 bundle eyeshadows. So if you get both of these, it's 35% off. Curated bundles are 40% off. And then the individual eyeshadow palettes are 25% off. So the I Need a Nude is $51.75. I Need a Warm is also $51.75 if you get them off of their website. The last brand is Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath is even more expensive than Natasha Denona, especially in terms of her Mothership palettes. I bought 2 of her Mothership's palette in the past on sale, and I don't know if those large palettes are worth it. I think that I haven't seen a color story in her Motherships that are worth the price for me, even on a sale. But aside from the Motherships, she does do sales fairly often throughout the year. For some reason, I noticed she kind of cut down on them this year, but I have a feeling she's going to do a Black Friday sale like most websites. And what I would recommend from Pat McGrath are actually her smaller eyeshadow palettes. The first is from a holiday collection a couple of years ago, so you can't get it anymore, unfortunately, but she does have holiday launches that have this formula. So if you see any holiday launches in this kind of cardboard packaging, I would recommend the formula. These metallics are so buttery smooth and soft. I didn't realize how much I was going to love this when I bought it, and I actually bought this palette at TJ Maxx for a discount, so it was even better. But these palettes are already more reasonably priced than her Mothership palettes, and then you can get a discount on top of it during Black Friday. Look at that. It is so wet on the eyes, but it's also very creamy in texture. I like applying it with my finger. Currently, she sells these formulas and duos for $25, so I can't imagine what the deal would be on Black Friday. I also love her quads. This one specifically is Voyeuristic Vixen. It does have what I believe to be a Blitz Astral shade in the color Rose Fire Nectar. This shade is like a duochrome of red, pink, and gold. It is so glittery, so shimmery, very, very foiled on the eyes. I also love the shade underneath it called Twilight Bronze. This is a little bit more creamier, more similar to her holiday cardboard packaging eyeshadow. Again, these shimmery metallic formulas are out of this world. If you are into high quality metallic eyeshadow formulas and her Motherships are out of budget, then I would highly recommend her smaller palettes because they do still have high quality formulas. Alright, so cat's out of the bag. That is a very weird phrase. Sometimes you ever just say phrases you've never said before and you're like, why did I decide today to say that phrase? Anyways, I'm just glad I was able to share products that I don't always get to recommend because I feel guilty about the price of them. So hopefully if you had your eyes on any of these products during Black Friday, this video helped you get to know the products a little bit better and decide whether it's worth the splurge. And we all know just because something goes on sale during Black Friday doesn't mean it's the best sale. There are so many alternatives out there and you do not have to feel pressured to pay $42 for a viral lip balm. But if you do find value in it, then I always think it's best to shop on a sale if and when you can. Again, thank you so much to Tier for sponsoring today's video. If you find that any of their products are within your needs and budget, then I highly recommend shopping Tier on Amazon during Black Friday. As always, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye!